been probably more on point than almost any other support in North America, and it's that kind of stuff that really seems to stand out. He, for sure, for me, is the top 3 of the supports in North America.
We're looking at Team 8 and seeing how dominant they can have as this last series for competitive practice versus Team Freedom. What are you hoping to see from Team Freedom here?
It's got to be a little bit of the flavor, you know, that we saw in week 3, the synergy within the heroics. I don't care what the comp necessarily is that much. More importantly than anything out of Freedom, it's going to see, you know, when the stun is there, is the follow-up damage there? Are they going to be able to deal with those things? And yes, I do think that Team 8 could just raw out micro and, you know, draft a lot of Team Freedom, but more than anything, just having that synergy and that teamwork and working on that department, I think, is going to be the biggest point for them.
We're getting ready to get into the first draft. We're starting with the Battleground pool for HGC. This jumps in. Team Freedom, Team 8. Team Freedom's going to ban Infernal Shrines. Team 8 bans Dragonshire. Freedom will have the first Battleground pick for this series, being the home team, and they have chosen Battlefield of Eternity.
Going to BOE. Battlefield of Eternity, a little bit of a favorite in North America right now, rose to popularity. Another map that's kind of hit, going from very rare to suddenly absurdly popular of a map. So it'll be exciting to see it play out. There's a lot of interesting things when it comes to BOE. The strategy on how to play it, the dynamic. I think more importantly than anything, the one thing I do want to see out of these teams is during the first Immortal phase, not be willing to trade. Unless it heavily is going to favor one composition over the other. But again, we've seen that last week it changed. Suddenly we saw teams like going, oh, what if we don't just trade for free during this first cycle? And I would really like to see a bit more out of that here, because it's actually, I don't know, it's a little bit weird on like the solo queue experience versus the competitive side. And from a solo queue, it's safer to get that trade because just no shields is probably the best to stop the momentum. But from competitive, it's a completely different story.
When we look at these teams, I mentioned it before, it's sort of a battle for Ragnaros. Although Team 8, it's fallen off somewhat, is still very, very popular with Team Freedom to be able to get Ragnaros. So we'll see if they want to get Ragnaros here on Battlefield of Eternity, maybe even a target ban for Team 8, because they are here in the first ban position. But instead, banning out Li Ming, it's a solid damage dealer for Battlefield of Eternity and one of the favorites we've seen from Team Freedom before.
Now Freedom has to decide, do they want to rid of the Tassadar? Do they want to rid of the Artanis? They're hovering over the Tass. That's probably going to be the safe bet here, considering, you know, you have the option to move into a Tracer potentially. You could risk the ban, but, you know, Tassadar has been a bit of a monster, at least in North America and Europe. Nobody really wants to be able to deal with that hero. So where are we going to see Team 8 go in the first pick? Is it in fact going to be the Ragnaros? Is it going to be more of a variant style play? It's one, I mean, Team 8's really kind of put a clinic on how to run variant, mainly because, you know, they got one of the better Medivhs there, having Galrong on that hero, and the synergy between those, you know, if you thought Warbringer was scary without the huge gap closer that Portal provides, it becomes just a completely different spell when paired there with the Medivh.
Yeah, it seems like it'll just depend what Glaurung feels like he wants to run. We've seen Zeratul as well from him on Battlefield of Eternity later on. But Ragnaros is the first pick. So Team 8 stealing Ragnaros away here. He will provide an excellent defense versus Immortals too. And also another way for them to be able to make plays as a team. Team Freedom very quickly respond though with Malfurion.
Yeah, they don't have the opportunity to move into that, you know, Li Ming that we typically see in the cycle because of the great ban they're coming out from Team 8. So where do they want to move? It's going to, in fact, be the variant for themselves. They're going to lock that in here. The beautiful duo kill potential focus that's kind of, you know, come out of nowhere in the North American scene, and it looks like he's going to be here to stay.
So then Team 8, likely we're going to see them focus as much as they can on getting all of the damage out of the way, that they have the lead when it comes to damage dealers here. But Team Freedom, with all of that lockdown, Team 8 may be looking into more of a Medivh, something to try to get through all of that lockdown initially?
Yeah, it is interesting to see what we'll see out of Team 8, because they also could just look maybe for a ban, or maybe they aren't even going to be fearful kind of it. They don't have to move in that direction. I question if the Vala is going to come out. It's not going to. In fact, it's going to be the Tychus and Zeratul, just because Vala has been insanely different in priority depending on the teams when it comes to BOE. At first it was like, okay, you get the Li Ming, we're going to get the Vala. Then it was like, okay, never mind, Li Ming's really scary, we're going to first pick that, and then who cares really about Vala? Then she had a moment where she was like, nah, Vala's equal prio, and it seems like she's dropped again here, looking at that cycle coming out from Team 8.
Well, Vala's just never really had that great of a win rate, honestly, on Battlefield of Eternity.
she is nothing comparative to some of the other heroes when it comes to the race. I view her as, you know, she's kind of like oh my goodness, we don't have anything else. We're just going to pick Vala. And I do like that she has kind of fallen off in priority. I do. The Zeratul pickup, though, it's going to synergize well, obviously, with the Ragnaros. We can expect Glaurung to be on that hero. But it is a bit of a risk. Glaurung has to be on point here in this game, especially with knowing that the variant exists on the opposite side of the map.
It does feel very much to me like Team 8 are also really focusing on Team Freedom and their comforts in this game. Taking Tychus away from Freedom. Tychus and Li Ming have long been the damage dealers that Freedom favors. Ragnaros, one of their most highest picked heroes, and then Zeratul even. Insomnia, we saw him talking about Glaurung. We knew that that was going to be a highly contested hero between them, and because of these teams and their love of Zeratul, we could see that rise even further as the series goes on. Yeah,
the Karazim ban there, though, seems a bit strange, knowing that, you know, Team A is pretty much... Justing has had one of the best performances probably on Diablo across the board. So we'll see if they move in that direction now that we do have the Zeratul. Again, the Zeratul Diablo, we've seen moments where teams were not okay with it. Other times they've let it through. In fact, Team Freedom's going to be the one doing that here. Maybe afraid of the 7-sided strike and what Karazim can provide when it comes to the race in those Iron Fists. Where's Freedom going to move here into this draft now? They still have the option of the Vala. Again, I would much rather a Falstad, something of the like, to come out here from them. I mean, Greymane's a hero when it comes to the map that could, you know, kind of coming out of nowhere. I actually don't mind the idea of moving into a Tyrael comp.
Greymane Tyrael.
Greymane Tyrael. It's a very aggressive, you know, kind of replaces a little bit of the Medivh. In that sense, Medivh would be another solid pick. I just don't know if Freedom really kind of have that tool in their arsenal.
Yeah, we have not seen them run anything like that before, not even a second Tyrael, anything like that, but it does not mean that they can't follow Artanis instead, so sticking to more comforts for them, especially when it comes to Artanis.
Yeah, very much a comfort rotation there for Freedom. Teammate now look to pick up the Warrior. What is it going to be? Again, I think it is going to be the Diablo lockdown here. If it's not going to be Diablo, because he has seemed to drop pretty drastically in priority once we played on a newer patch, who in fact would it be? We have Johanna. Johanna would be actually pretty good into the double autos that exists on the opposite side.
Yeah.
But I think more than anything, I would like a MURADIN over even, I think, Johanna. Just anything to get the setup. We'll find out, though. It's going to be the last pick, as Rhaegar's been locked in here. Teammate trying to figure it out for themselves.
I think it would be Apocalypse after Void Prison still. It's up. It's here.
I mean, that's what I said. But again, it is one of those priorities that has obviously not agreed on across the board in North America, where we often see those, you know, a region just says, we think this is too good, this is not.
Ooh,
I have made so many jokes about how Arthas doesn't exist in North America, and Team 8 is going to be the one who finally proves me wrong.
Is this the Syndragosa dream?
It is. It could be. It could. No. It could be both ways.
Like win harder if they're already ahead.
Yeah. So it's a situational, but with the Zeratul specifically, Syndragosa actually is a little bit more realistic, just based on the fact that Arthas doesn't just have to die, but it also complements both heroics, based on the fact that you buy time to be able to, you know, pop your ghouls, stack those up to be able to get the HP. But I love Arthas on this map. I like the choice here from them. They are struggling a bit on the race, though, on the side of Team 8. You know, not too much great immortal damage, whereas looking at the opposite side here, Team Freedom, I think their last pick should just be committed to kill potential. They've got, you know, a great Artanis 1-4 split. They've got the Variant Malfurion Vala for the kill potential, even though Vala obviously maybe not the best follow-up. So something that can follow up to Variant Malf, what is that going to be? Jaina, not necessarily your best map to move into, not a terrible. Falstad is okay. They're going to go with Valeera. Oh, man. I just said this back in our break. If that's going to be, I think it's going to be the Insomnia onto the Valeera.
Yes.
We were talking about this.
Because Dansky plays Artanis too. Insomnia does, but generally it's Dansky who plays a lot of the Artanis plays.
And yeah, when what you and I were talking about is just, I know Insomnia specifically in solo queue has been just pretty much almost no-lifing him. For some reason, somehow I get matched into him more than any other player in all of HGC. And so I've experienced time after time into his Valeera. It's very, very good. It's very scary. That being said, again, it's going to be that solo queue perspective. So is it going to be effective? It is a good follow-up, but again, it struggles in the race, but Teammates' race isn't that good. So if they are very, very effective within their kills, this could be a very terrifying 1-4 split on the side of Team Freedom. But Teammate has infinite comfort, and Teammate is that much more of a dominant team that I'm not looking at Freedom and going like, I'm sold on it, right? I like where they're headed. I'm just not totally convinced that it's got enough to be able to deal with what Teammate has.
Does it seem infinite comfort to you for them? I agree on Zeratul Rag, but Arthas?
The Arthas is a little bit off, but I mean, that was picked with other options. It wasn't a choke. It wasn't a choke. So because of that, it's obviously well thought out. They genuinely think that it's got a spot, right? If it was like a bully, like we see on supports, where it's like, oh, we're going to see this person on Morales. Like, how is this going to work out? It was a we volunteer into the Arthas.
As tribute.
And so that makes me feel way less afraid. I view that, I guess, as more, they definitely wanted the hero. They opted in towards it, and that makes me feel a lot more comfortable in that selection.
We're ready for this game. Once again, Zeratul Valeera battles the Battle of the Stealthies for game number 1 between Teammate and Team Freedom.
In the blue here is going to be the underdogs Freedom. Collusion onto the Malfurion. Zugrug is going to be playing the Varian. Insomnia there onto the Valeera. Terrifying hero. Dansky is always on that Artanis, you know, and Nasmus rounding it out onto the Vala.
See if Insomnia and the rest of Freedom can continue Valeera's 100% win rate, or if these guys can stop it. Teammate Buds will be playing Rhaegar. Justine is on Arthas. Yoda will be playing Tychus. Of course, Flowerung playing his Zeratul. And finally, Prismaticism playing Ragnaros.
It's a really... Oh, man, this is going to be a close one. I really think that Freedom needs to focus on their 1-4 split. We also see a different build going with the Vigor there at level 1 for Valeera. I'm expecting that's either going to be a double Q then, rather than having the... excuse me, that's confusing because she has 2 Qs. So going into the out
Sinister
of stealth...
Strike.
Sinister Strike,
The
there
dash.
we go. Going into the dash with the Sinister Strike at 4 and 7. Or it's going to be, it could be this traditional ambush and going, but I don't think it's going to be the case. You also have the option to move into Blade Fury with this type of build. We'll see. Either way, it's probably going to be at least a little different, knowing that we have the Vigor there at 1.
Yeah, this stealthy matchup, once again, is going to be very fun to watch. Of course, Dansky playing Artanis. We made a compilation of his swaps the one time when he was hitting him every single time, so that's a terrifying perspective to be in for Prismaticism and the rest of Teammate. I got very scared for Prismat as I saw Insomnia running around to the vent, but Zeratul's staying here, so for now, Zeratul is protecting Ragnaros as long as Valeera stays out of the shadows.
Yeah, we'll see how this works out.
In the shadows.
In
the shadows.
You know, we're lucky Diablo's not here because things just get real weird. You know, striking from the shadows. Flank here going to happen on the top half for Teammate. Valeera is going to be up here patiently waiting along with Artanis. So we'll see if they get the upper hand. Stealth's going to be procced. But it looks like they're just going to look for the clear. Team's being very patient in the early aspects of this game. Teammate has a 100% win rate on Ragnaros and on Zeratul. You know, looking at more other stats, overarching ones, Rhaegar, out of the 8 games on Battlefield of Eternity in the North American scene, only actually sits at a 25% win rate, so he's struggling a bit there, even though he's considered one of the upper echelons of support.
The Immortals have spawned. Teammate has the nicer position, at least a setup. Both of them are just defending though, both teams, trying to make sure that they can get 4. For Team Freedom though, even though we do just see the Vala, it does seem like their poke will be a lot easier for them to continue to poke as long as they can throw out those hungering arrows. Because Teammate is relying once again on the Tychus grenade, right? We've seen this happen before. It's just so hard to try to get a match in poke when you're poking back and forth when you have just a Tychus as your range. Yeah,
it's a rough spot here. So it is hard for them to be able to move in very much so into the comp of Teammate, but it's also a little bit more difficult. Oh, good swap. Is Valeera going to get the follow-up there? Pops the stealth, gets the stun, but not going to have the team there adjusting. And the 4-man squad of Teammate here is going to just apply pressure top. They realize, you know, either team going to move on to the Immortal. Fine, we'll capitalize on your lack of rotations here onto the map. That being said, a couple members on the side of Freedom have, you know, set eyes towards this Immortal, but they're going to have to back out with a good rotation on the side of Teammate.
You are correct so far in the build of Valeera. Relentless strikes.
Arthas at 4 there. Oh, never mind. I thought that was the opposite one. That was my bet there. So standard here for Arthas. Got really confused and scared for a moment there, but going into the Biting Cold, increasing Frozen Tempest. It's only going to make things, you know, it suddenly transitions Arthas into one of the deadliest warriors that exists into the game.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how far he pushes that. Things like Remorseless Winter, Frigid Winds too at 13 to reduce auto attack speed. if he's going to go that route or if he builds a tankier different way, maybe into Death Coil. It's not often that we see a solo warrior Arthas, really just an Arthas in general, but solo warrior at that.
Yeah, and we do, this is going to be fun. I am excited for the Arthas specifically, mainly just because, you know, I think I've said that joke about 3 times at this point, and we finally get it. We are going to get ourselves an Arthas here. Teammate, though, moving in to the Immortal, only for a moment there, waiting. We do have the Warp Bringer online. Also, going with the Valeera, we do see a 4 moving into the Q, so, you know, I'm expecting that to continue here. The 7 is a variable with this type of build. It's either going to be a Q or into the Blade Fury. I think I like the idea of Blade Fury a little bit more, just because it's going to be pretty easy to get value out of, I think, into this match with so many melees.
Yeah, being able to stack up Fatal Finesse.
Yeah. It's going to be... Oh, man, that was a interesting moment there. Good engagement. The follow-up, is that the kill, though? Swap happens. In fact, it is. Arthas is going to be deleted, but Valeera gets hit by the stun. Not going to have the heals available. 1-for-1 trade. Halftime phase almost kicked in, but Freedom's got to back out.
We'll have Valeera back up pretty soon. And Team 8 are, it seems they are understanding that they're probably not going to be able to win this setup as it is now. Swap, his mana system goes in.
But the minions are there, so
minions
really...
are there, he's all right. So instead, they're just applying as much pressure as they can. Once the swap phase happens, they will move back and reduce the shielding as much as they can. But until then, they're just going to try to get ahead by continually soaking the lanes, playing patiently, getting kills where they can.
Valeera 7. It's not. We aren't going to see the adjustments.
Yeah, I wondered if it was still going to be ambush build. Yeah, Assassinate, so Death from Above probably at 13 too.
It's so strange. I do think this and Dragonshire are probably one of the better maps for that build, but I very much thought that we would see you know, that different build coming out from him with the start of it, but in fact, it's not going to be the case. Team's looking to trade. Freedom here is going to quickly be able to take this, though.
Well, think how scary that makes anybody who's trying to do a multitude of things, right? 1-4, like sitting up and trying to soak in the lane, especially up to 10. Or later on, if somebody is on the Immortal, like taking their time trying to defend while everyone else is attacking, she can just full-on assassinate them.
Yeah, like I said, this and Dragonshire are 2 of the maps where you're most likely to see that isolated target and gain value out of it. So I definitely can understand it a bit more here onto this map. That's going to be the Molten Core, though. A lot of resources committed to top on the side of Freedom. At best, going to be a front wall coming out from them.
Oh, Insomnia's headed down.
Can they get the kill? They got to get the
Swap
reveal.
already went out.
Nobody has a reveal outside of the swap or the dash.
And that is so nice, too, for teammates that they were able to draw down that extra resource from Valeera. So a little bit less. Probably wouldn't have been able to jump in. It was a scary place for her to try to move in underneath the fort anyway, regardless. So trying to get that kill, but Team 8 sustaining through this pressure and losing the first Immortal.
All right, so this is... Valeera is actually... No, okay, so they're going to be able to take that camp. The pressure on top should be negated. Freedom won't be losing anything at this point in time. So we have had a relatively patient game for the most part. I do feel like once we see those 10s, this is going to change drastically, though. Teams, you know, they seem to be a little bit more comfortable once they end up picking their heroics, especially Freedom, you know, varying the kill potential. You're going to have Glowing there, as always, onto the Zeratul. The Void plays are going to be real.
Do you think that Arthas getting Army of the Dead is even going to be able to sustain through if Warbringer comes in with the Valeera and everything?
If Void is enough. That's the beauty of Arthas Zeratul together, is that it is the single greatest tool. Oh, great stun combo. That's going to be one dead Ragnaros. But it's the single greatest tool to buy that time for Arthas. Because even if you only isolate 2 targets, you can pop ghouls directly after, and then you just pop as many as you probably can, and by that point, you almost always are going to have enough. So yeah, I think that's going to be the case, but that's also a counter argument as to why maybe, you know, Syndragosa would be more valuable, but it is going to be the Army of the Undead here. Ghouls is the choice on Team 8.
On the other side, Rain of Vengeance for Vala. No, we haven't seen any Cloak of Shadows yet, right? It's always been Smoke Bomb.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I think Smoke Bomb is the obvious general standard. It makes the most sense. The damage output going to be the highest. It's more when, you know, into the variant, maybe you would consider that anywhere where you know there's going to be a lot of single target CC onto you, or a severe dot, knowing that you can get that cleanse of the damage over time there. Zeratul's looking to kind of baby the Shaman camp, but the rest of Freedom's not feeling comfortable with that. And team's going to play defensive posture. Both teams want to play defensive. That's what's going to make this game rather drawn out.
And both want to make sure that they get the clear before even committing to the Immortals at all. But the faster clear initially is for Freedom. They're going to move in. Swap comes out. cleanse from Buds to keep Justing safe. Teammate nearly cleared out. They have cleared out the Shaman in the bottom so they can start to rotate in.
This is interesting. You know, I'd like to talk to teammate if they manage to win the series about the Arthas pick here, because it's not into the stereotypical picks that we see the Arthas. But talking about that, the taunt goes out the Sept. Oh my goodness!
Sulfurous smash on Malfurion.
Got him, man. 1-for-1 trade. I was just going to take a minute to compliment the taunt there, but the counter response on the side of teammate is just calculated enough to go even.
Yeah, both teams playing out of their minds in this first game. Really well played. Even Team Freedom showing the coordination along with Valeria, that it's been well practiced with them. Team 8, we've seen really good synergy from them. Obviously, it's something that as a new team, they've still been working on, but improving all the time. And it was really important there for Prismaticism to be able to make it a 1-for-1 in the trades.
Yeah, and there we go, with teams now having their members spawn. Only, keep in mind, we only saw, what was it, Sulfurous Smash was the only heroic used on the side of teammates, so that's going to be down only 10 more seconds. Everybody else, they're about to have theirs up, minus Twilight Dream. That's going to be down and offline here for a small period of time, but look at this, we are going to experience a lot of this game. Sorry to break it to you guys, it's going to be a lot of posturing because both these comps have that, you know, if you mess up even a fraction, it's going to be very easy to punish, as we, you know, kind of just witness.
Game over, man. Very quickly. A lot of it has to do, too, with the positioning of the Immortals. They are in defensive positions that favors that. Prismaticism checks out with the Meteor. Indeed, Team Freedom were taking that Khazra camp in the bottom, so that will potentially buy them a little bit of time. Charge onto the stun. Cleanse gets him out. Yoda turns around, starts throwing out the damage on Zugrug with the bigger they are.
That was a good engagement, though, on the side of Zugrug. Absolutely optimal there for him. Good use of the taunt force and the cleanse. This is when they want to move up. This is where their 4-man's going to thrive, no matter who the target is, as long as they can be successful, especially if Zeratul actually shows himself on top. That is the case, but it looks like Freedom instead is going to move and try and engage onto him. Can they get the swap? Nobody's going to have it here. Vala not even going to hit the reveal.
I think I know why Arthas, maybe.
Hit me with it.
Icebound Fortitude.
That's the argument, to be able to deal with the variant itself.
25 armor?
Yeah.
75 reduction on slow stuns and roots.
I mean, it's obviously a really great tool, and we see it a lot of the times on the Arthas. That very much could be the argument, and it is one of the better maps. But typically, you know, again, we see it with into a specific certain amount of heroes or a complementing and accenting towards itself. But yeah, that could be the argument. That's a good point that you bring up there.
We'll have to see. I'm definitely interested in it too. Zugrug got taken for a ride with Flower Rung. Cleanse comes in, Zugrug's fine, swap goes down, nobody caught. Team 8 fine, but can't get in to put in the poke, put in the damage on the Immortal, and the health bar staying even as these teams keep moving forward in experience.
What I would actually like to see Freedom do is, they're never going to be able to move up. Neither team, with their comps, they're too good at defending. Both sides are just terrifying. So rather than moving in aggressively here for the Immortal, while Sulfurous Smash is on cooldown, just push elsewhere. Like, push on top. Look to open up the map. This Immortal isn't the end of the world. It's very comfortable, you know, at the point in time that it's going to be at, and also the fact that it's skilling only with the time directing on spawn is just, I would like to see them be a little bit looking for other avenues to be able to gain that experience and the advantage, because obviously we've seen a bit of a stalemate here for 12 minutes, only going to be 2 to 3 kills into the game.
Yeah, 13 is here for both the teams. Ice Block is a welcome relief for Malfurion. It is death from above.
Yep. I honestly think if you do pick up the 7, it almost 100% has to be that 13 there, the mobility and finishing capabilities.
And then over on Arthas' side, Frigid Wind, so it will get the reduction for attack speed. It's going to be Smoke Bomb down. Insomnia is trying to move in again. It's not quite on top of the Immortal, and now it's over. Did give Freedom a little bit of time to push toward the halfway point where the Immortal can be in a much more favorable place for them to try to win the rest of it. But this spot is, once again, pretty easily defended by Team 8.
Yeah, it's just, again, a story of what these compositions are kind of built to be able to do, and it's waiting for their opponents to make the mistake. I thought Insomnia went a little bit too aggressive there, but in fact, not effectively punished. Good job blowing the smoke bomb there to buy his time. I think they're going to be able to kick the halftime phase off. We're sitting at about 5% away.
Yeah, even Zugrug's having to throw out lines being like, please, just get to the halfway.
It's a annoying and rough position here.
Yeah, they've drawn down a lot of teammate though, and so Insomnia was trying to sneak around at the top. Glaurung sniffed that out. Zebrak's jumping in.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
Into the roots, amazingly done by Team Freedom. Sulfura Smash buying time to get out the members of teammate. They've done it so far. Void Prison on the back. Here comes the Odin. Can they take out Insomnia? He's inside of his smoke bomb.
Yeah, and there's going to be the ghouls are popped as well. Arth is going to be self-sustaining just fine. Justin and the rest of teammate move up, and Zugrug a bit too low to contest here. It's going to kick in the halftime phase. Everybody on Freedom's going to look to back or get a tap, and then they're going to look for the reinitiation. That reinitiation will be heavily in favor of Freedom as long as they properly execute the Malfurion variant Valera combo that they have on their side. Defensive posturing is going to be what we see here for teammate, because again, they understand the circumstances. All right, so once it kicks, now look for the stun combo away from it. Who are they going to go?
Swap goes down, double swap even onto 2 into the roots. Tychus goes down, he's going to drop. Dansky might be the next one to fall though, turning it into a 2-for-1 for Team 8. Collusion gets caught, Glaurung jumps in, a 3rd kill.
Yeah, very well done. The initiation there, going for the swapped attempt versus over the just, overall burst combo that they had, put them in a terrible position, and a teammate is going to be there to punish. Now looking towards that 16 talent here, they're going to pick themselves up an Immortal. And, oh, do they have it? He's going to dodge here. Arthas with the Howling Blast, dodged up, stealth's been initiated. E or W is the only thing to reveal. Prismat hits it. Good dodge out of Insomnia. And in fact here, we are looking at a 50% roughly, shielding and a full level lead, 16 talents here. Teammate, they've got about anything and everything going for them. And we saw the Arthas conversation with the Zeratul, once you drop Void, it's just like, how do you kill him? Because he loses half his HP, he goes all the way back, and then he's got usually 2 to 3 ghouls left. So he's legitimately going like, who wants to battle? I'm ready, because I've got everything I need.
I was very scared for teammate in the second phase after they'd already used Void Prison, but again, they make it through the swap, which is oh so important. Team Freedom have shown why their Artanis swaps are something to be feared, because it's always going to be into a root. But if Team 8 has all the tools they need, even if they don't, if they use Void just to make sure they can get through that, then they can be able to turn the fight, and that has netted them a healthy Immortal. Molten Core even being used just to put a little bit extra damage onto the keep structures here in bottom, especially with teammate having this advantage with 16 talents.
Oda's going down too. They want this keep, and they're not going to back away here. They know they have the 16 talents here, that they don't want to take the fight. And without Artanis there, it's not even like they're down a man. So this is going to be a keep converted there. Freedom was in a tough spot. They had to choose. Oh, man, he's going to actually win this 1v1 for a moment. Yeah, forces the Void. He can still win this trade. Glaurung's got to back out. That's a cooldown they don't want. There's going to be the flank for the rest of the squad. Just take the 1v1. If Glaurung opens, it's a misplay. Because he can turn. Oh, he didn't get the W. Okay, so he opened with Q over W. If he opens with W and then he Qs, he actually has the ability to out-trade that. That's like a really minor thing in the end. Tough area to be in for all of Freedom here in this game, is they are just without 16 talents here, and mainly that bottom keep. Our teammate did a beautiful job of just making sure that any choice they made was going to be a terrible one, because even if they committed to that keep, it was really likely they got it down, but by definitely not being there, it's pretty much going to be free. And they've opened up the map significantly. And this is something I think teammate does better than almost every team in North America, is they actually fight off the perfect amount of every situation. They get their advantage, and they do a very good job of making sure they completely capitalize. And it's almost only around the objectives, but still, it's beautiful and probably superior than over every other team in NA. Even tempo, I would say. Yeah, who were they playing against? That Infernal Shrines game? That was versus Team Naventic. That was, I felt the first time that I was really like, holy Team 8 right now. It was so good. Yes, they've had other great plays, but just like a lot of our other teams, they have really shown a lot of improvement. Big cleanse, Ancestral Healing for Justing. Yeah, did not burn Army. Yeah, but it did force the Sulfura Smash. Granted, it's a 60-second cooldown. It's better than a Void or anything alike. I really wish Dansky would just wait half a second on his swap. If he did, he would swap them a little bit farther. For instance, at the original point, good swap there. As I say, that timing was good. It makes a big play. Will Glaurung get the pick on Insomnia? That's a 4-man Void. Is there any follow-up there? Oh, man. Varian's tough spot. He's going down. It was a good taunt, so to buy time from Tychus, but still Varian goes down. So it's a 2-for-1. There's no Rhaegar here to be able to give defense and healing for Team 8. Bala goes down. Oh my gosh, this is going to be Collusion going down as well. Glaurung is now in hot pursuit. His Blink's up in a second, and his W's up. If he Blinks W and hits, it's kill. He's got Void, or not.
Nice use of Vanish.
Oh, In the
There
end,
he goes.
it goes down there. It's a sad day. Good engagement there. Varung, you know, hiding in the shadows there, getting the flank. Perfect initiation with the Arthas. But as I was saying, just Dansky moving into the Arcanes, they are going to look on the swap, and they're going to bank on the swap, maximize the distance. It's only a half second later. If he throws out the E, suddenly it's not those, oh, I swapped them, and they're on the opposite side of me. It's, oh, I swapped them. Yes, I may die, but it's no rebuttal. It's going to be a one-for-one trade, and he's not able to really do that yet, here at least in this match.
And trading out and taking out Rhaegar is always going to be favorable to be able to take down the support for Team 8, but
yeah.
Even in losing Rhaegar, the sheer self-sustain of Team 8's Arthas, having Justin be able to keep himself alive there. Tychus was in Odin form, even though he was taunted. It took some time at least away from him being able to go into Odin form to follow up the Void Prisons, but that does give him armor too, so they had self-sustain even though they had lost their Rhaegar.
Valeera and Zeratul kind of just doing their thing. Soken with 20 advantage, man. You know, Freedom is just waiting at this point in time. They are playing this defensive match, and their best fight is into an Immortal defensive. That was the perfect time swap on coming out from Dansky. But this is their best fight they're going to get, is on top of the Immortal with the 20, but they're just waiting for the catapult pressure on the side of Team 8. So Odin's used, even this is better than the next fight they're going to get. So let's see if they make it happen. Another good swap attempt. Varian got the taunt there on the Galar. Keep in mind, we got catapults pressuring on bottom, but it's only 19 minutes, so it should do. It's only at the 25 to 30% range, and when it comes to damage on core potential, it has no opportunity to move to lethal yet.
Team Freedom don't want to fight, but they know if they can get the right swap at least, then they could kill that person with the roots down. Dansky keeps going out, and somehow Team 8 dodges them every time. The continued aggression onto the Immortal will net the Immortal phase for Team 8, but they have to stay alive here if they want to push along with it. Zughrug is low. Rain of Vengeance goes down 2. Prismaticus moving in, takes down 2, and Twilight Dream is not going to save Malfurion's life.
Yeah, Nazmus is going to rely victim here as well. The Immortal full HP. Insomnia is running for his life. Pretty sure that we're going to, depending on how long they buy time, actually, they could look for the game here, but that made it a lot more difficult now, knowing that those cool... is he really going to? Oh my goodness. Larang was just barely out of range in Fog of War to be able to see him there in that break. And now, yeah, we do see Team 8 move towards the core. Because even if they don't win the game this second, let's say everybody was alive, it's a perfect play when the shielding is above 50% because it's going to get a free keep elsewhere, and it forces your opponents to split. And when you do that, you just initiate. It's you know, it's a perfect dance. Team 8, clean game. 15 kills here, over 6 on the side of Freedoms.
Very well done by Team 8, was the battleground choice of Team Freedom. So again, we have to wonder, is that going to be
the best performance?
Right,
yeah.
The main strategy for them that they are able to prepare here and hope for a win off of that, or if Team Freedom will have other strategies up their sleeves. But even though it was a battleground choice for them, it wasn't anything different except for maybe the Valeera, and we knew that Valeera was a possibility for Freedom.
Yeah, it very much was. And, you know, I would like to see them... I'm ready for Freedom to stop drafting what they draft. I'm ready, you know, like I like the Artanis, you know, it's probably the best map for Artanis. I like that. But a lot of what they do is rinse and repeat. And I think it's hit enough attempts to realize that it's not really just going to be able to cut it. Make a couple of adjustments, or at least with those drafts, play it different. It's the same rinse and repeat when it comes to look for the swap. We'll be able to blow them up, right? And it's getting to the point where finally North America is realizing that Artanis is not insanely powerful. He does have a swap potential, yes, but I mean, Stitches has a hook potential, and look how much he's getting picked. Not looking at you, EU, because I know there was one today, but you know what I mean? It's that exact same philosophy, and I'm excited to see it change, but I think in this series, I want to see Freedom draft-wise make those changes, or at least make huge differences on how they play those type of compositions.
Well, the nice thing is, because they aren't going to the Western Clash, they have a lot of time that if it's a hero pool issue, they can work on that. And I very much think that we're going to continue to see improvement from Freedom, knowing how hard they work. But we are going to go to a break, guys. Get hyped for the Western Clash. Here's some more info for you about that.
Oh, let's break it down!
If we win a Western Clash, then I'm happy, but for me to be truly satisfied, I would need to win a global championship.
I think the unique feature in our team is the fact that we come up with a lot of new strategies and we kind of create our own meta.
2016 was good for MISFITS, but I think we can improve.
IGC is the best, honestly. I love Gale Force Esports. I love my teammates. I'm really happy with where we're at.
I think what separates us from other teams is we're making an active judgment to make a more positive team atmosphere.
We want to prove ourselves against other regions, not only in North America.
Born for the arena. On my squad, we trust the spirits for guidance. No one gets left behind. Not even a pink skin. And when our backs are to the wall, I call on the elements to even the odds. The name's Rhaegar, heroes of the storm. I am the storm!
The most important thing I've learned in all my journeys is balance. Work and play. Good and bad. Right and wrong. Honor. Tradition. A good brew. And most especially, family. These are the things that bring me balance. These are the things I fight for.
Bronzebeards are known across the whole of Azeroth. My eldest brother Magni was king of Ironforge, wise and fair a ruler as ever been. And Bran, well, he's a renowned explorer, always finding secrets. Being written about in Explorers League Geographic. With brothers like that, I'd feel a wee bit overshadowed. If I didn't kick so much ass! All right, lads, line up! It's hammer time!
Hey friends, welcome back to HGC North America. We are right in the middle of our last series of Part 1. Where'd the time go?
It blew past, you know? We just had series after series, action-packed HGC, you know? I think so far it's been an awesome kickoff, and, you know, it's nice to be able to conclude Part 1, but it by no means is the end of all the coverage that we're going to have this year, because this is just all year round, boys. Let's go. It's exciting.
Even next weekend, too, there's still going to be HGC Korea, and oh my goodness, do we have an awesome series, because L5 is going to play MVP Black. I think the top 2 teams right now
both
in
undefeated,
Korea.
even, within the Korean region.
That's going to be a hype match.
Yeah,
so yeah, look forward to that one.
Yeah, it is going to be exciting. And, you know, L5 sticking with the, you know, the traditional roster that they've had for so long, sticking together as a group. And then MVP Black finally for the first time in a very long time, making adjustments. You know, is it going to be the new era?
Over a year, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be, is it going to be, you know, is this the reincarnation? Like we see the legendary team that wins 3 tournaments in a row, undefeated in a world championship once more. It's just so exciting.
I've got nerd chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.